Scorpius, the scorpion. Known for its deadly and poisonous sting, Scorpio sign is often considered a somewhat fearful sign. It is very mysterious because Scorpio rules the eighth house, which is associated with deep secrets, poison, death, and mystery. This house represents the deep and hidden aspects of life. Scorpio have a very deep and complex nature. They are often very complicated in their thinking, though this complexity is not visible on the surface. It's like an ocean, calm on the surface but with deep depths below. Scorpios are not easily read just by looking at them. They are among the toughest people to read from the outside. Understanding their inner self can be quite challenging. Since 8th house represents death and mysteries, the Scorpios have an interest in death and mysteries. Their behavior and personality often delve deeply into other people's personalities. This interest in deeper aspects of life can be intriguing and sometimes frightening. Scorpios have a sharp nature and can psychologically penetrate other people's minds, which can be intimidating. However, if used positively, the skill can be very powerful. Eighth house also represents sexual aspects. So there is also a sexual aspect associated with Scorpio, which is influenced by Mars. They have a strong attraction to the complexities of sexuality. The interest in sex is not just about the act itself, but includes the theory, experience behind sexuality, including variations and the care from a Platonic perspective. They are very interested in sexual matters and engagements from this perspective. Since Scorpio's tail represents poison, poison can also be used as medicine and it can extend to chemistry and drugs. So this is also an area where Scorpios have a lot of interest. They can get into medicines, chemistry and drugs and healing. Mars rules the sixth house which governs diseases and enemies in Scorpio ascendant. So again the feature of element and cures come into picture. When Mars is involved, it is often related to injuries. But here, in this context, Mars is more connected to surgery, poison, chronic illness, and death. Scorpios are also interested in understanding aspects related to death, surgery, and chronic illness. They might be attracted to professions such as surgery because they want to penetrate both mentally and physically into these fields. Just like the Cancer, Scorpio experiences a mutual debilitation between Mars and the Moon, but now this occurs between the first and the ninth house. Mars in the ninth house becomes debilitated while the Moon in the first house becomes debilitated. What does this mean? So, ninth house indicates religion, teachers, and long distance travel. So, Scorpios, when it comes to religion, may adopt heterodox or unconventional practices. They will delve into religion and philosophy but will not follow orthodox paths. Instead, they will approach religious practices with their own unique twists and interpretations, adding their own variations to the conventional understanding. Scorpios are those who distance themselves compared to any religion, exploring spirituality through alternate paths. Secondly, since the ninth house is related to teachers and traditional methods, Scorpio may find it difficult to align with traditional teaching and traditional methods. They may understand traditional teachings but view them from a third person perspective and would rather venture into creating their own alternative methods of learning rather than adopting a traditional approach. They might even speak out against the traditional methods, criticizing them for not being effective or accurate, and this is supported due to the sharpness of their mind and ability to penetrate deep into the subject. Further, since ninth house represents travel, in travel, Scorpios might encounter accidents, issues, problems, and that can extend to transportation or travel routes. In relationships, Scorpios have such high level of complexity that they tend to completely immerse their partners in the relationship. They can leave their partners completely feeling entangled. This makes it very difficult to dominate a Scorpio partner. This complexity of Scorpio can create a web of entanglement, making it hard to manage things for the partners. Scorpio's complexity affects the relationship and often play a dominant role, which can sometimes lead to relationships going awry. Another reason is that the seventh house and the 12th house are ruled by Venus, and seventh house represents marriages and 12th house represents loss. So the loss of marriage, loss of relationship can also happen because of this reason. Another thing is that issues with the family. The fourth house is ruled by Saturn, which represents family and mother. And Saturn, which brings hardship, there will be difficulties with mother and family. Further, the ninth house is where the ascendant lord is debilitated, and the ninth house represents father. So, from the father also, there will be issues. So, for Scorpio ascendants, issues may arise from both the parents and both the parents, father and mother. So, as a result of this, Scorpios are not doomed to be very successful in maintaining harmonious family relationships. So, our Scorpio ascendant personality is Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was a psychologist, and you can see the depth of his insight just from his photographs. For instance, who would take a photograph like that? He is staring deeply into your soul, trying to extract something out of it. Freud was a famous psychoanalyst. He developed a clinical method for evaluating and treating pathologies related to behavioral psychology. Look at his introduction of sexuality. He redefined sexuality by stating that if a child has a sexual urge, it would be directed towards the opposite parent. If it's a boy, it's towards mother. If it's a girl, it's towards the father. He created his own framework of sexuality, and some people might maintain it, but for him there were no taboos. For Freud, search for the reality meant that there were no taboos. In fact, Scorpio loved to delve into all those taboo subjects and explore them in great depth without having a personal attachment to them. Scorpios can attach themselves to taboo subjects and explore them thoroughly, coming up with insights that normal people who are not Scorpios might not understand. For Scorpios, the pursuit of understanding taboo subjects and comfortable topics that no one likes to discuss can be a deep and passionate endeavor. They analyze these subjects dispassionately and form their own views about them. Freud also published analysis of dreams, which was involved in more psychological analysis, delving into human psychology, understanding his own psyche and that of others. He was a very deep thinker, and people considered his work a landmark. Next, a Scorpio personality is Bruce Lee. Everyone knows Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is the top martial art artist the world has seen in current era. If you look at his style, he created his own martial art style called Jeet Kune Do. When he was asked about his style of fighting, he said, "The style of no style." He criticized formalized approaches because traditional styles limit a person's fighting options. He went against the tradition by creating a method that was innovative and unrestricted. Unlike traditional methods, which often have a set structure or convention considered acceptable, Bruce Lee sought to go beyond these restrictions. He aimed to find a new structure, a new style, and then formalize it. Bruce Lee was a martial artist who also talked about spirituality. While famous fighters like Muhammad Ali also were spiritual, but for Bruce Lee, the spirituality was coming from the core, and it was the essence of his martial arts. His he, his approach to fighting was as if it is a spiritual matter rather than a physical one. Bruce Lee was also consumer of poisons and drugs and painkillers. His later showed that he used to consume drugs and painkillers to enhance his capabilities.